In the fertile plains of India lies the town of Vidisha, a village along a long trail route spanning across the fields. Not far from here lies Sanchi, a group of monuments centered around a large hill. Thousands of years ago, in 3rd century BCE, you would find Emperor of the Mauryan dynasty, Ashoka, constructing his many monuments. The most prominent of these architectures is the Sanchi Stupa, the largest of 3 stupas to reside atop the Sanchi hill. Also known as the Masha Stupa, the Great Stupa, the construction was of Buddhist importance, representing the culture of ancient India as well as having great significance in our world today. Throughout the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century, the Great Stupa went through many architectural changes. The construction of the stupa began in 3rd century BCE by Ashoka alongside the development of the rest of Sanchi Hill. Most of some 50 main Buddhist structures are within the site, measuring 380 meters by 200 meters. The Great Stupa was damaged around the 2nd century BCE, and was repaired in the 1st century BCE when it reached its final form. Sanchi was a major Buddhist center, where monasteries, stupas, and other structures stood. The function of the stupas was to harbor the Buddhist remains and relics, meant to keep the essence of the Buddha alive. Stupas also commonly held the remains of prominent Buddhist teachers. Rather than the ashes of the Buddha, within the center of the Sanchi Stupa is a series of symbolic objects. The placement of the stupas are located at an area associated with an important event in the Buddha's life. For example, the location may be the birthplace, place of enlightenment, the place where the first sermon of the Four Noble Truths was recited, or the death place. Many visitors would go to stupas to achieve enlightenment, which is having complete knowledge of the Four Noble Truths. Doing so would allow one to escape the eternal cycle of birth and death. The stupa symbolized the Buddha and his final release from the cycle of birth and death, the pre-nirvana, or the final dying. The stupa would be the final resting place of the Buddha. Not only was the Great Stupa a religious symbol, but it also served as a reflection of the arts and storytelling of the period. The architecture of the Great Stupa contains many elements, each symbolizing Buddhist culture and beliefs. The Anda, or dome, symbolizes the dome of heaven, which surrounds the earth. Within the center of the Anda are the remains of the Buddha or his relics. The central pillar, Yashti, represents the cosmic axis, with the umbrellas, Trivalti, it holds, symbolizing the 3 jewels of the Buddha. But the most prominent feature of the Great Stupa is the 4 Toranas, or entrances, facing the 4 cardinal directions on the outside of the stupa. The Toranas of the Great Stupa are the crowning achievements of Sanchi sculpture, having a plethora of inscriptions and depictions that cover the gateways. Stories of the Buddha's life, along with their previous lives, are shown through sculpts of animals and people covering every inch, displaying the culture and art style of ancient India. Along with this are inscriptions in Brahmi, showing names of donators who aided in the construction of the Great Stupa. Many of the donors were local merchants and farmers from the region of Sanchi, but they also came from farther abroad. As leadership over Sanchi was changing over the years, the purpose of the Great Stupa remained rather the same. For instance, the kings of the Deccan region who had control of Sanchi in the 1st century BCE used the Great Stupa for prayer, but worshipped Brahmanical deities rather than the Buddha. For the majority of its use, however, Buddhism was the primary religion. Buddhists strived for enlightenment through the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The Great Stupa served to aid in reaching nirvana, as well as symbolizing the Buddha's own nirvana. One such way of learning was through circling the Chayata clockwise along the Pradishka Patha in a process called circumambulation. This walking mediation at the stupa enables the practitioner to visualize enlightenment as the movement from the perimeter of the stupa to the unmoving hub at the center marked by the yashti. Karmic beliefs were also associated with the Great Stupa, as any practitioner who had built one would ensure that they would not suffer from poverty and would be born not in a remote location in their next life. Buddhist beliefs are still prominent in our world today, and stupas are one way these beliefs are practiced. When the Sanchi Stupa was rediscovered in 1818 by British General Taylor and excavated from 1912 to 1919, the monument became a famous historical site for tourists and Buddhists to learn about ancient culture. Stupas, such as the Great Stupa, are symbolic of the original core beliefs of Buddhism and give historians insight into ancient India and its culture. The Great Stupa is India's oldest structure, and it was built amongst one of the most influential Buddhist sites in the ancient world. Major stone renovations here made this stupa one of the most significant of all Buddhist monuments. Many follow Buddhist teachings in the present day, with circumambulation still being a tradition that is practiced today. Stupas remain the Buddhist practitioner of the Buddha and his teachings almost 2,500 years after his death. The Sanchi Stupa is of great historical significance to the Buddhist followers today. The historical site of Sanchi is without a doubt marvelous. The symbolic value and insight it provides to history depicts a complex and sophisticated culture. Remarkably, these structures have survived the test of time and remain standing today atop the Sanchi Hill. The Sanchi Stupa is an amazing display of ancient Indian culture and architectural brilliance.